daughter won Bobby Harrell's House seat last November. And this November, Paul Tinkler hopes to win the Charleston mayoral race. I sat down with him for this edition of Quintin's Close-Ups. Well, let's recreate the scene. It was Monday at the Francis Marion Hotel in downtown Charleston. You and other mayoral candidates for Charleston were there. And you were basically there for a forum put on by the Conservation League, which was actually called If I Were Mayor. And I'm wondering, when you were there, what did you tell yourself?
Well, first of all, the forum was a great opportunity. It was packed with people, a lot of interested people, and I really commend the organizers for putting it on. I made the point when I was allowed the opportunity to say something that we need citizen involvement. And I made the point that for years I noticed when I was on city council, we had active citizen involvement of downtown residents, and they help shape what goes on the peninsula. And I think we need that in the other areas of the city as well.
Right. And speaking of which, let's talk about the issues. Describe to me the following one word: the International African American Museum.
I think it's a vision of Mayor Riley that needs to be completed.
Sergeant Jasper Apartments.
Probably too big for the site.
West Ashley.
In need of attention.
James Island.
Also in need of attention.
Uber.
And cooperation.
Yeah.
You say Uber?
Uber, yeah.
I think it's a new technology that needs to be pursued. I think that government should get out of the way when a new technology comes along that's favorable for consumers.
Police body cameras.
I think it's the wave of the future.
Yeah. Finish these sentences for me. Visiting residents and business owners tell you what? When you visit residents and business owners, what did they tell you?
Well, a lot of business owners have expressed concern about the processes of the city, permitting and so forth are too slow. Some of the downtown residents, of course, are concerned that tourism is too pronounced. However, I think Charleston is going to be a tourist destination, and I think the tourism industry is a great thing for our city. We need a balance between livability of downtown residents and tourism.
Being on city council taught you?
It taught me a lot about how Mayor Riley has run this city ably for the last 40 years.
Okay.
It taught me about budgeting. It taught me about compromise. It taught me about making tough decisions and sticking to them.
Housing in Charleston.
Housing in Charleston, we obviously need workforce housing. Our peninsula, for example, is losing many people because they can't afford to live there. And I think the city needs to take an active role in helping private investors find ways to make housing affordable.
The flooding problem has to
improve.
Education is.
Education is obviously necessary, absolutely necessary.
Very much so.
We have a long way to go in Charleston to improve our educational system. We've made some progress, but we have a long way to go.
South Carolina State University should.
It needs good financial management, but it should remain open.
Yeah. As I mentioned earlier, you know, you and I can't talk today. Our mayoral candidates were at the forum on Monday. And recently, as you know, Leon Stavronakis and William Dudley Gregory jumped into the race. And I'm wondering, when you heard those two names that jumped into the race, what did you tell yourself?
Well, I wasn't surprised. We knew who was interested in running for quite some time.
Right. And from William Dudley Gregory and Leon Stavronakis to you, I want to take you back to February 10th. It was the day that you announced your run for mayor of Charleston. And I know you launched your campaign party at Mrs. Rose in West Ashley, surrounded by friends, family, as well as supporters. When you look back at that day, what plays back in your mind?
Well, of course, I had told the newspaper I was running back in the fall,
right.
And then my daughter got caught up in an election herself, and so I put my campaign on the back burner.
Okay.
That's why I didn't make any sort of formal announcement before that.
Right.
But we made a formal announcement on February the 10th, and it was a great time, a packed room, and a lot of excitement.
That is awesome. And speaking of which, let's go back to Mayor Riley's last State of the City address. When I talked with Leon Stavronakis and John Teckenberg and others, they basically said that particular event was historic. How would you describe the mayor's last city address?
Well, I've sat through a lot of his addresses, and he always does a great job summing up the task before him as mayor, and I think he did an excellent job this time, and I agree, it was a historic occasion.
Speaking of history, let's talk about Mary Tinkler. She won Bobby Harrell's seat in November. I'm wondering, where were you emotionally on that day?
Well, my wife and I had taken a trip out of town,
Yeah.
and the election happened, but the legal process was still ongoing. It was still in question. And I got a call from Mary's lawyer to tell me that the legal case was over. She had been confirmed to be elected, and we bragged about Mary the whole way our trip.
That's
We're
awesome.
very proud of her.
That is awesome. Well, Paul Tinkler, it's always good talking to you.
Same to you, Quintin.
Thank
Thank you
you.
so much.